All right, guys, today we're going to talk about movement of the shoulder blade on the rib cage in throwers. And this is an area where I think a lot of people make mistakes with respect to their arm care programs because they think that it's very important to have just a stable scapula. In reality, what you need is a shoulder blade that's willing to move and able to move to the right positions during different portions of their delivery. So you don't need much scapular movement if your arms are right at your sides here. But when you get your arm up to your arm slot or you get it out to ball release, that shoulder blade needs to move on the rib cage to get to different positions so that you can maintain the congruency of the ball in the socket. So one of the examples we're going to give is how folks coach a standing one-arm cable row. So Jacob's going to demonstrate this for us. What I want you to kind of notice is as he goes through this motion, go ahead, you notice how the scapula moves on the rib cage and he lets it come forward in the front and then comes back, right? So everyone thinks that maybe you need to keep your shoulder blade back and that all that motion has to take place from the humerus, okay? We don't really want your arm to move unless your scapula is moving to accommodate that range of motion. Now, to give you an example of how it might look if it was incorrect, we actually had an intern in the past who came after interning in another facility and he walked in and he said, hey, we always teach our standing cable rows and other row variations where you lock the scap down with the lat and then you just move through your arm. In reality, that's not how your arm actually needs to move. It needs to get to a position where the shoulder blade can move. So if we're going to do that, what you'll often see with folks is they lock that scap down, okay, and then they just move excessively through the arm here. Okay? And what you see is when that happens, they can't get motion from their scap because it's locked down. They can't get around on the rib cage as they would need at ball release. And what you also see is when they finish, there's a lot of gliding forward in the front of the shoulder. The elbow winds up behind the body. So it's a very lat dominant pattern. What we know about throwers, they already tend to be very, very lat dominant. So we don't need to feed into that anymore. So instead, be aware of just the simple fact that on your row variations, your shoulder blade should be able to go through protraction and retraction. This is going to be particularly important for guys who maybe have more of what we call an adducted posture, meaning their shoulder blades sit too close to their spine. So make sure that the shoulder blade's moving on the rib cage when you go through your rowing variations. Obviously make sure it's not an excessive anterior tilt and that scapula is sitting flush on the rib cage as you go through it.